Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and I believe good evening to all the wonderful artists here. Thank you for joining the session from different parts of the globe today. We're glad to see that the community of artists associated with Art Journal Foundation is growing. I'm Ruchira Banka, the co-founder of Art Journal Foundation. I take this opportunity to introduce the idea behind being into existence. Art Journal Foundation is an educational creative platform that supports the process, practice, and education in arts and culture across the globe. Art Journal Foundation shall help to create resources and serve as a support system for students, teachers, and art enthusiasts. It aims to enhance and encourage creativity, critical investigations, explorations, and experiments that push boundaries of knowledge and practice and challenge dominant narratives. We are an ever-growing community of students, teachers, and artists who have or wish to choose a creative journey. In our endeavor to support art as a subject, we bring together webinars and sessions like today's to share ideas, knowledge. We have our expert today, Mr. Subrata Ghosh, who's been very closely working in alignment with the vision of Art Journal Foundation. Thanks, sir, for joining us here today. I feel
Thank you.
glad to have you on this platform with us. A little introduction about him. Mr. Ghosh has been into international art education for more than 24 years. There are many of you who know him already. He has a vast experience in teaching many international curricula, including edXL, Cambridge, and IBDP Visual Arts. He's been working as the head of Department Visual and Performing Arts in Calcutta International School here in India, as an IBDP board examiner, a workshop facilitator, and an author for various art journals. He has been invited to share his experience and expertise at multiple places in the country and abroad. In fact, he's done multiple sessions for the Art Journal Foundation as well, across the IBDP and the Cambridge curricula. Subrata was invited as a visiting faculty to the Savannah College of Arts and Design in the US. The Alfred College of the Netherlands invited him to conduct workshops for their students. He has received fellowship from Merman Studio Center in the US to work and research there. Subrata is also a practicing visual artist trained from the MS University Baroda, where he was awarded his first class and his master's degree. He received the UNESCO Paris Scholarship. His work has been exhibited in the Europe, the US, and many other places of the world. And I would like to hand over the stage to him to share his experience and expertise with all of us today about the IB Diploma Program Visual Arts, which is a thought-provoking course that aims to develop confident art makers with strong analytical skills in problem solving and divergent thinking. The stage is yours, sir.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Banka, and for a nice introduction. And a very good morning to all of you present here. And especially my gratitude to Art Journal Foundation. They have been doing immense, the phenomenal job in art education, I must say that. And this is one of the platforms that they have decided to, give this introductory thing for the IBDP, because so many teachers, they demand that to know the basic ideas and all that. So I would like to do that. I would try that, my best to do that. I don't know, because all of us are actually art educators and we try our best to do that. And every day we are working and growing. I'm sure that together we'll work and we'll do the best. So this is not that only I facilitate the session here. I also learn from you. So it's a both way channel that we grow up and we learn together. In fact, the IBDP, the whole ethos is not just to teach the syllabus. The whole ethos is to teach and to learn and to teach the subject itself. And I try to convince my students, whoever comes to me, that do not chase after marks. Marks are there. It has got some protocols and measures and formalities. But how much you are learning from this beautiful curriculum, that's more important, because this is something taken from here for your lifetime. So thank you for coming this session, and I'm sure that it will be interesting. As much as possible, I'll try my best. And thank you once again, Mrs. Banka, that for this opportunity you have given me. I don't know, we have a certain time, 1.5 hours. So this is just introductory thing. And most of you, I'm sure that you are pretty much aware of this curriculum. Many of teachers already messaged me whether it's a new curriculum I'm introducing or not. The new curriculum not yet implemented. They're still in the process. And from next year, probably you will get some instruction. And that also not too much changes or any huge flips up. What we'll see that maybe certain elements will do that. And one for sure, that linking TOK and the core with art, it might be mandatory later on, which is actually important, and we need to do that. Now, each and every factor needs actually separate session for that matter. Now, TOK linking with art, many teachers has got queries and the difficulties to understand. Even many institutions, the IBDP coordinator, they don't have the clear idea about it. For that matter, TOK session, what I had, my training, so there also I had a lot of difficulties I found from the coordinators. Now, why I'm starting with TOK, just mentioning, because this has got something to encompass all the subjects. Theory of knowledge actually for every subject, and every subject teacher is a theory of knowledge teacher. Now, what exactly we are offering in visual art for students or as well as for teachers, IB curriculum never demand any certain expertise or certain skill, though we need it, but they don't demand that mandatory. What is mandatory is our culture, our approach, and our attitude towards art. And the learning towards art, learning this syllabus and the whole journey itself actually can help you to understand other subjects. This is the only subject where you can see the visible thinking is so much visible every day, where in other subjects like mathematics or physics or anything, we actually we face always difficulty to place the research project where the visible thinking elements there exist. But in art, always students are meant to do this everyday practice and to take it from observation study to the research level and the creative level. So that's actually so much visible and in practice in our case. So we are fortunate that way. Of course, we have a lot more challenge than other subjects. So I will define the broadly the curriculum line, which we have the guideline, the books, and the IB guideline is very clearly stated. There is no struggle you get to understand the thing, and the proper vocabularies and every required documents are there. There are two IBDP Visual Art resource books, which I think you must have. One is published from Oxford and another one is from Cambridge. That IBDP Visual Art book, I think you need to give the students, all of them should have like their Bible. That's very important because the way they formulated, they actually combine and compile the book is phenomenal. It's very helpful. I'm sure you all used. If not, then you must. This is one criteria. I'm going to start with one video quickly, and then sharing the slides again. Let's see.
No, I'll be there. No, I'll never forget that day. No, no, never forget that day. No, no, there. No, I'll be there. No, I'll never forget that day. No, no, never forget that day. No, no, there. No, I'll be there. No, I'll never forget that day.
So that was from the International School Rome with the last year IBDP students show and the exhibition actually. So it's interesting to see how you can display, and of course you have I don't know how much space you have, it depends, but still IB is saying that doesn't matter. Even the framing and other thing also, you don't have to be worry about that, because you have the quality of the works is most important uh, than your other things. That is for your, that's for your process portfolio, one huge area, which is actually like a skeleton of IBDP Visual Art program, and it won't change. It will be there. The second part is the comparative study, which is a research project, which carries 20% mark. And the third part is that after 2 years culmination, the selected works exhibited. So the exhibition and curatorial rationale. For that, our structure is one art making practice, theoretical practice, as well as the communication practice, the art and communication. So these three bars, you can see this, the basic, the formalities of that submission, the HL and SL part, and these are the areas, of course, you know, but just to tell you, they are all interlinked, first of all. Secondly, they are interlinked with the whole syllabus. How we start and how we continue with these three components into our practices throughout the year, throughout our tenure, we have to make a planning, prior planning, otherwise you won't be able to manage. First of all, how you are going to do with the introducing the process portfolio. Always you should start with the process portfolio, because process portfolio, that means the visual art journal, which is the VAJ, we call it, and that is a regular working sketchbook or a drawing book, which are the documentation of your regular work for the students. Their student, they have misconcept that when they see in the guidelines that HL 13 to 25 screens, so they think, okay, at the most we can work for 30 pages and then we select. That's not possible. At least 2 to 3 books, sketch books, they should finish, and from there, end of the year, we can select the best pages and which can show their best part of their practice. That's important for them, and there they need guidance from the art teacher. So our teacher's job is, something that you will be guiding from behind the screen, and as if that you are letting them do everything. But yes, but from their time to time, you have to analyze, you have to ask them, you have to intrigue them to a question so that they can be aware and they can start thinking about their work critically. Go to next slide, please. Yeah, coming to the curriculum more so you understand now that one is communicating factor, visual art methods, and visual arts in context. Now, the context is how you have to choose. That needs some time. At least first 2 months you have to spend the time so that what they can actually achieve through their observation and investigation studies, and they have to write down continuously what exactly they're looking for. The confusion state actually depends on them. It depends on the person, depends on the student's attitude and character. They have to fix an intention and their subject, where exactly they are comfortable, and they wanted to do, they wanted to pursue. So something that line, they have to bring it out. You can actually help them, you can guide them, but decision from them, from their part. Next one, this is linking areas, and then we go for the linking part in the next one. Yeah, that is those three things connecting theoretical practice, curatorial practice, and art making practice. Now, when art making practice is on, it's actually throughout the year, you will then ask them to write about each and every area where they're feeling. If they think that they go for any study, observational study, or photography or sketching, why did you take this part and why did you not take that part? Is that just randomly or you are convinced? So some may said, okay, I like it, that's what I did. Why did you like it? You question. If the 5 to 10 photographs come like that, then select a common area of your liking and common areas of your disliking. If the disliking comes that you are not confident, if the disliking comes from your uh, some knowledge you have experience that it won't turn out good, you have to write it there. There comes your prior knowledge, your experience. They might think, okay, I have seen some works like that which looks good. I have seen some works which they don't look good, something like that. That questioning starts from there, and let them free to handle that. But you just put questions. Then curatorial practice will come little late, but what we'll do often, we do gallery visits and all that. From there, you have to intrigue that passion for the curation. So today's world, in a contemporary world, the artist himself is the curator, herself is the curator. He or she knows that how to curate and what should be there in the show and which way, where it be posed and all that. So this thing they have to be aware. So the special relationship with the art object. That means art object and the space. That is special relationship with the art object. There more and more, they have to be aware of that. Next, please. Process portfolio, which is externally as the 40% it carries. That's basically what I've been talking about, the visual art journal that turns in finally that process portfolio, which has got marking, assessment, skills, technologies, the techniques and processes, which stands for 12 marks. So many people, they think they have an idea, okay, if I take IB, so I don't have to prove, that my skills and formal qualities like Cambridge and other. No, it's wrong idea. 12 marks is there. The most marks is there for skills areas. So they have to be skilled. Certain skills they have to acquire. They have to know. They have to learn. Otherwise, what are we teaching and what are they learning? Critical investigation comes from there. Communication of ideas and intention. Now, the ideas there, people, I mean, if you ask them, the students usually at this age, they a lot of ideas, a lot of fantasies they can express. But what is the intention? That is the toughest part. The intention they have to build up, and how? For that, not just the study and the observation and others, also they have to do mind mapping. And that interestingly, I tell you, the mind mapping is not just for once. Throughout the process, multiple number mind mapping required. One can be in the observational part and then end of the investigation part. One can be the exploration part, and then another can be towards more culmination part. So what happens is that you are growing, you are taking your process further and more with the coherence and positive way. That will show, that will fix it through your mind mapping. So the mind mapping is very important here. In internet and other sources, the mind mapping looks fascinating, designer, ornamental, doesn't matter. The mind mapping can be any way, but one tips I can give you, tell them to fix two sides, left and right. Left side, what are available stuff there in with the students, and right side, what they want to achieve, they want to uh, plan, or they want to dream of. So what happened, these two pointers, two side, left and right, then they have to start connecting each other. The connecting bond, when you are making the diagram, there you have to write the which way you want to do that. For instance, you have interior, table, chair, you like that, something, a kitchenette. Right side, students are thinking, you are asking him, "Okay, what to do with that? Have you ever planned, or do you have anything in your mind which don't exist but you want to implement?" They said, "Well, I want to see a kitchen interior which should look different completely, not the construction in my house or any other house. It can be open. So write open kitchen, right side, which doesn't exist, he or she has to implement. Someone will say, okay, the colors will be completely different, or the walls will be transparent. Write it there. Then how to do that? So there is a diagram method, and then you write which way. Are you planning to paint? Are you planning to making a model? Are you planning to think about the which media is better? Are you going to make a prototype? And then you think about that. And then what are the resources you are thinking, the first hand and second hand and third hand, that where you can actually discuss about your work with other artist work or architecture work or planning. Or maybe you can visit some places. And then according to that, you can understand. So this is something, the way it takes shape for the research. Now in process portfolio, through visual art journal, not necessarily you have to produce your final culmination. It can show your process, that's it. We want to see, the examiners want to see that you are in a process positively or not, you are taking the struggle or not, you have some failure or not, you have some success or not, or you have some thought process at all or not, or just superficial. Process portfolio is the most important document to prove that students' ability and vision is not superficial. Their struggle and that creative ability and the whole approach, how it's taking shape, that's important. And whole documentation stands in process portfolio. So review and refine is another factor, because we want them to see, look back and interpret and refine the work again, whether anything needed or not. And how do you do that? You become enriched with the gallery visit and the more resources, the books and artist work, and even you can talk to teachers and the artists and the artisans, and then you come back to your work and you see, yes, I can do that, or this could have been done this way or that way. Even you could, the student cannot do that, but at least the ideas and the interest should be documented as a written form in the process portfolio, and then they will get the credit. And finally, presentation and subject-specific language, which is very important. And the teacher should take initiative from very beginning, that this is the knowledge factor, that particularly the uses of language and the vocabularies, how should they use and why do they need to use? That is important. They have to be convinced about that. That certain things you can express this way, you cannot express in other term or other word. Probably 2-3 lines you write about that, but it's not enough to express your feeling or your work or your it doesn't justify your work at all. So the vocabularies and this thing is important. And interestingly, when you are talking about communication, that means the curatorial part or exhibition visit, that reflection part also requires this thing, where they can actually learn from the curator's note. a reviews page. So they need to read that, the art magazine or the exhibition, the curators, what he or she had written, they should take that at home and to study and discuss. So this is what, and they have, the three different areas. Actually, they have all freedom to work in any media, 2D, 3D, and lens-based. At least two, they have to continue, and not just a single piece, a single part. 2D is that all this drawing, painting, graphics, all this 2D. 3D comes the model making, the sculpture, all this 3D works, and lens based for the photography, digital work, this sort of thing, even the new media. Can you see the next slide? Yeah, can you move to the next slide, please? Yeah, process portfolio. Still, you see that I have written the elements are there. Experimentation, make connection, independent exploration, take pleasure, passion, originality, play, authentic, and through investigation. So investigation is the key word. From there we start, and then we explore, experiment, and the experimentation. Sometimes it happens that from some artist work, the inspiration comes. That is also should be mentioned, and also something independently felt that this is the way I can try out or something like that. What is the pleasure part that they have to do that? Because sometimes they do mechanical, superficial. It's really they have passion for that or not. And from there, you can extract the original part. You can actually look at. You can tell students that this is the area you have achieved. This is the most successful part. So they should know. They should know how to appreciate art and what exactly the evaluation are. Next slide, please. Yeah. And there you can see the next one is the uh, comparative study. And there, completely research work. It's almost like a research extended is. And don't forget that whatever the artist or example you are going to use in comparative study, you are not supposed to use for your extended essay if you take extended essays for visual art. So analysis of formal qualities. What is formal qualities? You all know that this is very important and very much connected with your skill practice. So the formal qualities of one artwork, composition side, how the lines, tones, colors blended, how the paint layer has been used and all that. This comes under the formal qualities, which is very important to know. Function and purpose. So what exactly the artwork's message, and what is any social, political, anything there or not? Or historical stand. That means the artwork, how you evaluate that's the important in the time, where exactly it is collected, the museum and the gallery, something like that. Cultural significance, very important. You have to search that cultural line, the connection with this artwork. That's what the students are supposed to research. And believe me, a lot of credit goes to the students' comparative study if at least one work can be experienced by themselves and physical. That means from museum or gallery, or if they meet any artists in person and they can actually work on. If they talk about that, so that the interviews and other things can be part of the research. They don't say this is mandatory, but this is something preference goes to that. So one artist artwork you should select from the other places, other countries. Another art piece, second or the third one, should be selected from your locality or your country. It's not in the as a condition, but I believe the advantage is there The student can actually show their personal connection and their direct research and investigation, where actually they can please the examiners. I can put it this way, because I have seen many WhatsApp groups and the common group that a lot of people are arguing about this and talking about that and all that. I think that you should know this. We are not limiting anything in IB. Everything is possible. But in any case, you have to prove yourself. You have to show your best part to the examiner. And what are the things we like to see? We like to see your personal connection, your originality, your struggle, your honest effort, and your knowing things, how you are going out of box and then attending galleries and visiting exhibitions, visiting artist studio, and then picking up works and talking about that. That's quite impressive, actually. Presentation and subject specific language, once again here and very much there. And presentation, of course, it's not just a nicely decorated book, the pages, but which order you are making. Even you have to be educated, your digital resources and everything, what exactly you have to do. This comes under this presentation as well. Write resource sites and the books and the internet links should be guided by the teachers. Authentic sites should be there, and those will be in the citations. It's very important. From this year, the page for citation separately given and separately uploaded, And for HL, the 12 marks carries for their connection to making the connection with their own work. Not necessarily the work has to be exactly the same way the other artist, but what are the inspirational sources? What is the takeaway from there that students need to define there? There must be contrast. There may be something different approach from other artists, but student can look at something from there they have taken or they have understood a method, or they have taken a different turn by watching this. This is interesting. And yes, and they have 10 to 15 pages almost. Actually, it depends on the weightage. It's 50 MB. That's the limits of the whole file. Can you go to the next slide, please? And then these are the elements what I have discussed precisely. So this is something, the interest. So you have to talk to them. You have to discuss. You have to have an informal discussion session, often that you have to have discussion session with the students and talking about film, music, something out of the classroom, because they would like to talk. They would love to talk about the movies and the songs, the lyrics, and then the poems, and then many things. From there, you can actually inspire them, help them, take them, drive them to actual their interest. They might have the interest for the graffiti wall, the wall graffiti outside. I mean, I have one of my students 2 years back. She did one comparative study where Salvador Dali's work there and the street side graffiti is there. And the graffiti was very interesting project by one artist who she didn't know. And that artist did the project with the missing girl. So all over this city, the silhouette figure of a girl, the black silhouette, and writing the number, missing girl number 1,000, missing girl number 1,000. So every day, this child trafficking, the girl trafficking, she addressed this way. And in a public places, she made that graffiti. So it was so interesting. So that student took up that part of comparative study. It was amazing. So research needs to be deep and wide. Why I'm saying this? Because the student, they don't know how to do the research at this age. If you remember, we used to do any research in our school days this time? I don't think so. So you need to actually explicitly teach them, tell them what is the research, what to do with the research, what to do with the graffiti the research, what to do with, how about the Michel Basquiat's work? Maybe that is a one intriguing fashion. From there, people took it in a serious art form. How it comes, very much, unveiling your subconscious, and with the jazz music and whatever, and then you can actually drive them in that way. Question your sources. If someone got, the Van Gogh, all the time I've seen the Van Gogh impressionist. Van Gogh was not impressionist at all. That is so historically, you know, uh, wrong message, but it is there in Google. So you have to tell them that Van Gogh never comes under impressionist, and his practices was never been, acknowledged as impressionist. So these are the things you have to acknowledge. You have to tell them, question them, what exactly they are taking, and where they lead them. Quote, special quote there from the text. JSTOR. If you use the JSTOR, the source is very good for the research, or comparative study, or anything. Even for process portfolio, they have to do research. Reference, we use MLA, yeah, the form. So these are the things very important to note, and I'm sure you all know, but just I need to address all this. Next slide, please. Now, exhibition. Now, the thing is, the most usual practice is by the month of February, people wake up. The March and April is the submission time. And they say, okay, collect the works. Maybe a torn pages, nice drawing there. Sir, can I exhibit this? Something like that. No. Exhibition should be well thought. After 6 months, after entering the IBDP program, students should think about his or her own exhibition. No, it's not compulsory, Ganeshji, but MLA is one of the format recommended by them. So if you select MLA 10 or something, also possible. But they have to maintain throughout the same category, same style. That is the most important thing. So in exhibition, application, that means what is the application? The application of your skill, your thought process and everything, well prepared and well planned. So after 1 year, I mean, at least 14 months, 15 months, the studying IB, you need to plan it out. And there, the exhibition visits is must thing. Old masters or the contemporary artists or many just random artworks, just go and they should go there and attend and talk about that. Photography exhibition, even the films, serious films also, I think it is important to see sometimes. At least the exhibition is important. Make use of center line of an eye line, and then curation, consider the audience journeys. Curation, as far as curation is concerned, they have to think about themselves as an audience. So how you're presenting your works and what's the purpose? And as a viewer, how do you react and what is the expectation from your viewer? So viewers will go from the right side and then turn this way, and there is a screen, and then you go by this, then the video is there, then the photograph is there, all the sculpture is there, which we want to lead the spectator. That's the way they have to learn, and they have to write about it. Okay, next one, please. Now, I have written some planning. I don't know how much it will helpful for you, but this is the way we plan. I have taken 18 months at the most, because you don't get 2 years in reality. 2 years course, actually 1.5 years virtual. because the 6 months goes with the vacations, exams, and all this. I've seen, I fought for many institutions, that's examination so many times. You keep the examination, at least for visual art, the apart from summative submission, the formative assessment can be done in many ways, not always the preparing your table and chair for the sitting exam. It can be a discussion, it can be a submission, it can be a film show, it can be a video presentation, and you talk about that and ask them to write. It can be many ways. So your marks can be done. I believe in this. Not necessarily that, okay, you have 3 hours exam, you finish a painting, not that. We don't believe in that. So that way, your assessment can be taken care of in your part of your teaching. And you can tell them that every day I'm marking, so better be careful and, be more active. So every day we are marking. Yes, it's 1 year, 6 months, isn't it? Absolutely. Thank you, Ganeshji. And you see the term one I have made first 3 months. And I have mentioned already 3 practice with the 3 blue bar. First, I showed you theoretical, art making, curatorial. Actually 6 years back, the curatorial practice was not there. And the examiner used to visit physically the schools, is to stay for 2-3 days, interview the students, and the work journal physically they have to see, and they used to see and mark on that. The formal elements, visual analysis, formal analysis, compare and contrast exercise, journal reflection, showing film, videos, other sources. You can go for the TED Talks and many things. The today's world, so many things are available. But teachers, you have to work. You have to actually do research for your students. And every year, remember, the set of students come to you, all are new challenges, unlike other subjects. Because what we see from their individual capacity and aptitude, we actually frame our curriculum, the teaching methods. But for other subjects, the set curriculum and books and exams take place, and if they do, they pass. If they write everything correct, they get good marks like that. But we don't have that option. So the formal elements, you will teach them, you'll show them, they will go for the observational studies, and this thing is very important in the first phase. And time to time discussion, showing videos to increase their passions. Even the artist work, set of slides, you can show them and all that. And then also give them some ownership after 2 months and 3 months. Say, hey, you can make a presentation. And you said that other day you like Edgar Degas' work. So why can't you show us your work? So they will be happy to show their work. So they will do some little research and all that. And then after that, you can tell them, see, you have done this. You have made this set of works of Edgar Degas. But what is the planning? Or you just put it randomly? Why can't you do this way? Then they will take interest. See, you have done few ballerinas postures, and however Degas' other works, how he addresses the human figure, there is an interesting issue. They say, what? Well, you go and check it. That amongst other impressionists, Edgar Degas' human figure drawing and painting, you will see, they all are unwatched. That's what Degas used to prefer. Even he used to see them through the peephole from the door and to see how they're moving and doing. They're undisturbed by the viewers, and that thing they want to do. So candid photograph, the photographs also introduced that time, another and all that. Anyway, so art making practice. So this comes to the art making practice. They're all should be visible in the Visual Art Journal. I have mentioned VAJ. And then introduce the art making and forms table. Yeah, there are certain things that the formalities, the characters, techniques and process, teaching visual skills. Curatorial practice, exhibition visits. 4 ways of looking art in gallery. It's also a very elaborate thing. I'm not getting into that, but just little bit, I tell you, when they write studio responses, the 4 ways of looking at things by the TED Education Center in London, the TED Museum, they own. So they have an education hub. So teaching people how to look at painting, how to look at artwork. So 4 basic ways. One is you go by the data, the artwork, the title, uh, when was that happened, executed by this year and that year. So that investigation data, which museum has collected and all this comes first way. Second way, the analysis of painting, not critically, analytical. That means the structural thing, the formal qualities, all these things. The third way is a more conceptual, contextual, and critical. Push them to write about that. What is about this ballerina's painting by Edgar Degas? What do you think about it? Is it just random painting, just out of fancy, or if he has something in your mind? You say, oh yeah, it looks nice. That's what he drew, he painted. No, there's so many he did. If you really like, you can do 1 or 2. But thousand and thousand, you can't do that. There must be some agenda, something like that. And the fourth one is that how you're connecting yourself with that. As a viewer from today, you are 15, 16 years old, and then you are looking at this, an impressionist painting for 20th century, and how do you react? What is your take? What exactly you think about that? A comment. So these 4 precisely I have just mentioned, it has got elaborate things that I'll discuss. 4 ways of looking at art. Studio response, and then they can write about the reflection that. And you can see the term 2, which is next 3 months. Guided activities, comparing images. Yeah. Yeah, the function and Dr. Dakre, are you fine? Yeah. Thank you for joining. And then you see that.
Great job, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Function, purpose, building art, vocabulary, and referencing and citing sources. Theoretical practice. So sometimes some teachers ask me, should we start from the Egyptian civilization, Greek civilization, and going till today? You can't do that. You go by the student's aptitude, your importance. Yeah, some basic thing when you were doing the still life study and all that, the formal elements and all. Maybe you can see the chiaroscuro and all this. You can refer some artist work and they can do this. That should be done by the first term. Second term, their choices. They can actually bring the element, the materials, and sit on the table and do that, or on the floor. So take them ownership. So they will take interest. They might collect some pebbles from the roadside and study. Let them do that. This is the way the next observation and the investigation come, and the referencing and citing sources also there according to their activities. Guided studio work, open-ended assignment, art seed bank, you can actually see that in many sources, and you can create one. Student himself, herself can create one. Guided visual journal work, self-reflection in art making. How to make PP screens. Now you have to teach them after, during the second term, that how to make the process portfolio screen, so that they can actually make few edited version from their visual art journal to their folder. They can make a folder there, and time to time they can put it there, edit there, add their comments. The ArtSeed bank is you have some storage of some source like JSTOR and other parts. You can see that about art, they have this thing. Even in IB, if you have my IB, or if you are there registered, you can see there's some resources there. Also, you can create for yourself in your institution one art seed bank. From there, student can go and see different artists' work and their references, and from there they can refer it. So it's for their convenience, you can make it. So the process portfolio screen making, also we have to teach them ongoing experiment, process portfolio format, ideas and intention in the process portfolio. Curating a virtual or small physical exhibition, I'm talking about curatorial practice in the second term, where documenting process should start. So the first term, they just observed, visited the gallery. But the second term, they take more seriously, documentation is important there. Then invite an artist or an expert just to take a workshop or something to, you know, take a session with the students. And like, for instance, maybe a sculpture, maybe ceramics, maybe filmmaking, maybe painting, anything, or fashion design for that matter. And ask them to make a virtual exhibition or just maybe a small show with the printout. Maybe they're showing some work from the First World War in Europe. They can actually collect some work, then print out and putting there, and they keeping some notes. And preferably, they can end with their own opinion and own view. From there, you can start a discussion also. Can you have the next slide, please? Next 3 months, term 3. Locating and secondary sources. What are the secondary sources? Primary sources is when you are looking at artwork physically, you are doing your own work. Secondary is you are taking from the book, from the link, from different sources. Choosing artwork for comparative study, that is CS. And the guiding templates is there. One can see how the making the Venn diagram, the comparing things, so that you can actually avoid many sentences, many words. Right. So, and also visually, you can actually show very easily how to make it, collate it. And the first draft, they have to submit it. Maybe the HL student can connect their work little later, because as they grow with their work, they evolve, then they can do that. So without that 12 marks, you can ask them that first draft, because the writing part is again and again, you have to refine it and change it and discuss. Studio work, continue with that, finding a focus, uncovering bigger ideas, use class critics to develop critical understanding and self-reflection. So what happened? Have a discussion, or maybe a Socrates seminar. What is Socrates seminar? You have idea, right? Okay. So make that, I mean, give them ownership, and they can talk about their own work. Peer discussion, very important here. And let me see once. Yeah. And then you are talking about, you were actually teaching them how to review, how to reflect, how to refine critically. So they have made one figurine, okay? Figure with the terracotta or the clay model. It's nice, beautiful. Then to review that, after reviewing that, they might need to do more works like that, so that one final work can be selected. Why? You can refer to artists like Roda and all that, that how the formation, the rhythm, the other factors working. What is your agenda? Ask to them. Do you think that you will be satisfied, or you are only looking for a rhythmical thing, or just the figure lying, it's a beauty of the human figure itself, or any other thing you think is, the message is there, or you are looking for? That's the way you are changing, you're altering. Even you are not altering, you are questioning, and you are actually writing about that in your visual art journal. Impromptu curating activity, also you can encourage them. Maybe in the outside street, they have taken, someone taken many photographs, and very much excited about that. Then you can ask them, okay, that series of photographs, you just put it up on the board and let's see, make a kind of a small show and we talk about that. Collaborative project, maybe two students, maybe the same group doing something together, maybe a student from art and a student from psychology doing something. You can encourage them to do something, present a paper or something, and that can be, if it is really good, can be materialized in the comparative study or EE or in a process portfolio for that matter. And there you can link TOK. If things coming very social service or something outside the school, maybe in a completely in the nature or in the street side and the outside in the society, you can link gas also, servicing, planting trees, making a project, referring Joseph Boys, and then you can connect with gas. That will be phenomenal. Rationally, actually develop from there, curatorially, rationally, and you can actually now, end of the third term, assign them. Write about rationally other artists, write about rationally about their work. So term 4, we come here, select art and TOK topics. As I said, that's the way you can do. Then art and theory of knowledge, I think explicitly you can address to them in the classes. You can actually show with the diagram and the references and all that, and ask them to reflect back, give assignment as well. Comparative study, the HL connection, which is the number F category, will connect gradually. Focus independent studio work to develop a coherent body of work. Now we have to address how we have been working, the student has been working. Is it cohesive enough? Coherent? Is it connecting your view and making in a line and showing a kind of a further process? For exhibition, fill in any gaps in a PP slide. So in the slides, sometimes it happens they avoid writing. Just few lines or few comments or just the arrow, one mark or something. So ask them to fit in properly so that it will be communicated with the examiner and others. Making sure to address all the PP assessment criteria are there. Tell them all the assessment criteria and make them understand that what exactly they have to achieve, what is the exactly demand from the syllabus. Exhibition visit, ongoing, gallery visit, curatorial practice, reflecting on different approaches to curation, journal, methods of display, titling work. What will be your title? Planning exhibition space. So ask them to make a diagram in their VAG, making a planning of the site planning. If it is site specific work, particularly any installation, or where exactly they want to put it. So that site planning should be there gradually. Let them think about. That's not the final, but at least going toward it. Fifth term, next 3 months, complete all tasks well in advance of schedule, deadline, and e-submission guidelines, which is because the fag end of the term, they have to know what is the protocols and everything, and internal assessment for teachers, formatting the CS, the comparative study, add sources, pages, and all that. You have to check it. You have to take their interviews time to time. You have to make your own note as a teacher, where exactly they struggle and they really achieved, or they have something positive, this thing, but they couldn't achieve. They could have done this. These are the honest notes. Actually, examiner appreciate. Process portfolio, final touches, Ed is curating the process portfolio for each submission. All are 50 MB till this year. Next year, I don't know. We have to see in the my IB guidelines. In this case, IB is little loose, I must say, that sometimes they change, sometimes in their documents, I think the right figures not mentioned. It happened in the last year also. But anyway, they're very helpful for this platform. Finalizing the exhibition and the curatorial text, putting together exhibition presentation for e-submission. right? So this is the 5 term. I made it for your planning. If you can do that, this is, I think, how your unit plan should go there, how the methodology takes place, and all these thing in details I have just addressed. Any question in this juncture, or we can take the question later.
Subrata sir, can I ask you one thing?
Yes, Ganesh.
Sir, suppose site-specific work is there.
Yeah.
Okay. And how can we include in final exhibition like that particular work
Hmm.
is on another place? So we have to shoot or we have to take photograph and then we have to include in the exhibition. Suppose we want to put it in the final work.
See, the anyway your submission is the e-submission. If you actually set somewhere else the whole site specific work and take the proper photographs and put it there.
Okay.
So there's no compulsion that it has to be in a classroom or in the same place. Even for that matter, the time, I mean, the space restricts sometimes. So it happens with me that when the huge number of students there, I made it the whole exhibition part by part. Like 3 students, one exhibition. Uska over ho gaya, then the next one, then like that. So these are actually difficulty because the liberty we give, maybe many institutions, they don't have that much space. So for the site specific, you separately, you take it and then document it, and then according to that, you submit it. Make sure the detailed one should be taken carefully and the individual work. Now, as a site specific work, the one work is going as a one work whole, then it will go to one slide. If the individual work you want to connect, so the individual work will take other slides. So that means this site specific will come as a whole exhibition, but as a work itself, if you mean the site specific one, then separately only that will go. And when the next slide option, they have 2 slides option, actually 3 slides. So the detailed one, you will actually take it such a way so that everything will be clearly visible and the quality of photograph important.
Okay, sir.
As well. Thank you. So next slide, please. Ma'am. This is just abruptly one visual art journal. And I mean to say, still this looks pretty, but many visual art journal, not so much so-called prettiness. It's abruptly and unplanned wise, it should be there, the raw pages. And I mean to say that when you are editing your thing, for instance, see some comments are written there, probably that is legible to some extent, but most of the occasion, the students writing not legible. So we guide them to stick there the typed version. So some part, the uncut version, unedited version, also keep it with the edited version along with the same, I mean, inside the same slide only, so that it can show your raw footage, raw pages. That's important. Okay, because sometimes it happens what I noticed that many students, they make it such a edited version, so it looks like only they have done in the Photoshop and on the iPad only. So that has got a problem. I mean, little bit problem because examiner as human being, after all, it depends their mentality time to time. What exactly how you maintain your as I told you, मैंने बोला क्या like previously the examiner used to come to check the physical visual art journal. Yeah, so that time it is called artist investigation book. So now that impression, if you keep somewhere, that is good. Next slide, please. Yeah. Can you go to the next slides? Yeah. So few examples for how student work. This is from my experience, my students. So doing a teapot or the ceramic pots, doing studies. And we have some theoretical classes also, where exactly we correlate the works. Now, if you see this work, with when they're free to draw, so with charcoal, with Conti, they can draw that, and different sides they're putting in one page to know one bus. Can you change the next slide, please? Yeah, see the next progression. I'm not showing all these pages, just few pages. So the overlap things coming up. So the breaking the ideas from that one sole object and beautify it. So they're pushing it from there. So we are showing that how intersecting planes and the overlapping and the layering can come. Knowing the object in different angles in one page can be approved as the study of that object. So they come to know like. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now I skip many pages, and this is where that time we're having classes of cubism. So the assemblage and cubism. So how you are unfolding one part and overlaying and making it in more true character. Okay. So that was becoming like this, as if you're opening that oval shape and the cylindrical part, and then you are keeping it to other possibilities. Right. So they're taking by this way. Once they actually got the exposure from the cubist work and the assemblage and all this kind of 3D work, and from there we move towards the 3D making. Can you show me the next one, please? Next slide. See how this planning going. It's part of the mind mapping. The written part I didn't attach here, the mind mapping going. How there with the drawing, dissecting, interplaying with the planes. Okay. Can you go for the next one, please? Yeah. Now how they're coming. See, this is the way you can make the slides gradually, and you can see how in VAJ. So in your final slide, you can make this page, and some of the part you can cover with important information. Okay. So the showing this rough work where exact the way it went up, and see the two slides and how she actually made the planning. You see the left side, the arrow, what would be the texture of that she mentioned there. You see the below part, how the things are written there abruptly. So let them do this way. Once they finalize for the process portfolio, then they can finalize some comment there with type. It can be mixture with type and the hand, no problem. Can you see the next slide, please? Yeah, see how the 3D form is taking places from that drawing, what they started from the observation study. Okay, so making this thing, and then you will see how it become bigger, much more bigger than the life size. So all notes are there, annotations there important, and the showing that from different parts is important to show that how in round 360-degree students thought of that, right? Can you do the, this is the prototype happening. Okay, the next slide, please. Yeah, you see that this one is the huge part is doing with actually the lamination, the the thick wood, and then the part of the wire with the mixing to become a big shape, big part of that, which is kind of an installation came out of that. So it's the last year's work, yeah. So this is the way you can actually develop. Of course, it depends on the student's interest. If students are stuck to the painting, so that you can actually change the painting version. Ask them to come out from the comfort zone and spoil the work. No problem with that. Change the version. Unless until you spoil and unless until you take the challenge, you can't go, further or in a better way. Many students, it is also another problem. They have prior knowledge. The skill is pretty high level. They make a portrait or the still life so nicely. After that, they cannot move. That's the big problem. So you have to take a methodology for them also. So differentiation always takes place in art classes everywhere. Differentiation for the students who are well skilled, differentiation student who has no skill but good concept, differentiation for the students who have huge, rich concept but no skill at all and very much scared to do artwork. All different levels, everywhere differentiation exists. The differentiation actually, I'm very much fascinated about to take up, session of that. It's very important to take a session on differentiation. So our differentiation is pretty much challenging. Actually, the more challenge is actually art teacher face than any other teachers. So this is the way we can actually build it far further. Now, if the student is stuck with this, what you can see in the slide, that is unresolved work, that is very much qualified for the process portfolio. Maybe you are not displaying in your exhibition, but in process portfolio, absolutely fine. Can you see the next slide? Now, these are the basic assessment objectives for our art practice in IBDP. And this is very important, that what I have written here in a gist. But each part, if you open up and if you go deeper, is huge. Objective number 1, demonstrate knowledge and understanding of specified content. Identify various contexts in which the visual art can be created and presented. Describe artwork from differing contexts and identify the ideas, conventions, and techniques employed by the art makers. Recognize the skills, techniques, media, forms, and processes associated with the visual art. When you are saying recognizing skill, technique, media, that is definitely from other artists' work, and also the student need to practice that. For instance, gesso or ceramics, or maybe mixed media like Russian work. If they like, ask them to do that. Maybe it's not a good work they do, but they should do the hands-on thing. They have to experience with the hand so that our new knowledge can be built. In TOK, we talk about the prior knowledge and the AOK, area of knowledge, and then how you are addressing the new knowledge. For art practice, we always tend to get the new knowledge, because when you are making an art form and you are actually experimenting and experiencing, you are tending to evolve or discover a new knowledge, which is to a new part, your own work. Present work using appropriate visual art language, vocabularies, of course, and appropriate intention. Appropriate to intention is important, because always intention highlighted. Once you correct your VAJ, student's VAJ, you put a sticky note there. Instead of writing there your comment, put a sticky note where you write your comment, highlight the area, the intention, highlight the area, the art making, like that. Second objective, assessment. Demonstrate application and analysis of knowledge and understanding. As it is connected, what I'm saying, what I was saying, express concept, ideas, and meaning through visual communication. Van Gogh's work, very common, no problem with that. When you are looking at that, and you work, any artwork, see it only, or Anselm Kiefer, any artist work, what is the visual communication? Sometimes it happens student very cleverly takes some notes from theoretical thing and place it there. You have to address that what is the visual communication. I will show a few slides from few great masters end of this, and then we can talk about it a bit. Analyze artworks from a variety of different contexts. From different contexts you take it, politically, socially, personally. Some artists like Modigliani or many artists or Van Gogh, their personal passion is super, too much, and that overwhelmed. And from there, just because uh, their brain, their sensitivity, so in a high level, in a supreme level, they definitely absorb the demand of the time, the sense of the time, and it reflected in their works. Apply knowledge and understanding of skills, techniques, media, forms, and processes related to art making. So all these things, how towards art making, as well as their intention has to be clear. So there you need a mind mapping to clear their intention. Everything they're doing, observing, taking note, doing research, but what exactly the intention? Is that clear? Third, demonstrate synthesis and evaluation. Critically analysis and discuss artworks created by themselves and others, and articulate an informed personal response. Okay, what is their personal response? They have to see whether when they're talking about that, if that is very much taught and they took it from some other sources and delivery, then you can ask them, hang on, can you talk about your opinion? Do you think is it fine? What you are saying, which you believe in, or you want to believe something else, something like that, make an argument and opinion session. That'd be interesting. Formulate in a personal intention, as I said, and for the planning, development, making of artwork that consider that how meaningful that convey to an audience. What is the message there? I don't want to say the meaning for artwork, but the message is important. What sense that how you respond, that is important, because meaning, quote unquote, that's a very textual version, but still we use that anyway. Demonstrate the use of critical reflection to highlight success and a failure also in order to progress work. Evaluate how and why art making evolves and justify the choices made in their own visual practice. A student of mine was doing something with the construction work, and she actually learned from the artisans and the masonry thing. But in the small format, when she did, it just fell off. The things didn't erect, they didn't stand there because there is a problem with the mixing the mortar, with the sand and the cement. So that she didn't do well. So didn't get dry properly. The construction didn't stand it with the wire armature, the structure. So she wrote it there, and then she found an alternative way and she did it. So that failure is important to know that how the student struggle and the address to that and attempted. That's important there. Demonstrate the use of critical reflection of highlight success, failure, and all this, and evaluate how why art making evolves and justify the choice made in their own visual practice. So that justification, the reflection, that's pretty much important there. Now, the objective 4 also very important here, and you can see the experiment, how with the different media, materials, techniques, art making, something are there. Then to appropriate choices, how they will make it, the selection of images, media, materials, and techniques in art making. Now, you see what happened exactly. The practice of this, the art making things, this constant, these binaries are there, which they have to be careful. And how do they care? How they have to be careful? Because they have to make themselves aware of all these things that are coming up and the questioning. So once you forget yourself and think about others, how they can question, how the other question comes, then you become critical, right? Let's see the next slide, please. Now, the work I have chosen here for different reasons. This is part of one big work, and it's called Kenya by Robert Rosenberg, which is a legend artist, passed away just a few years back. And this is one of his early works where actually Rosenberg did a lot of media exploration. So once the epitome of media exploration thing comes, so definitely Rosenberg name comes, the first. Rauschenberg, this work, they use a lot of different material and how it has started. And you can see the huge mammoth work if you see it. I saw in Guggenheim. It's amazing. And this is, can you see the next slide, please? Yeah, so you can see how do you consider this? You can ask that question to the student. Is this work, Kenyan, a painting or sculpture? Its upper half is a mass of materials that include bits of a shirt, printed paper, squash tube of pen, whatnot. Okay. And what comes in the next? Can you see the next slide, please? Oh no, sorry. Go back to one. I have to. I don't know. There is a huge. Okay, I'll show you later. Let this. I'm a bit scared of the slides continue. But there's another slide which is not there, just with me. So there's a suspended huge pillow and the stones from this work, and that comes as a surprise. You know, when we talk about the presentation, that's what I am trying to address here. It's not that presenting well, decorating. Slides not loading. Slides are visible, right? All of you. Yes, someone cannot see. Okay.
I think my internet is weak. I can't see the slides. So
okay, ma'am. It's just few slides left, but anyway, yeah, I can share. So the thing is, if you know, I think this is a very well-known work by Rosenberg. What I want to say, if you see the whole work, can you go back to the earlier one, Matt? Just a slide, once again. Just the slide before. Yeah, you see how it is been done with so many materials, one after another, the layers and everything, which shows your actually the running, the living process. And the surprise comes when something is suspended from there. I will show you the picture. And so that comes in the present, which actually will surprise the visitor, which actually come to jump into a completely new knowledge. So doing from one parameter, once it turns into a new platform, that is the most successful thing. That means do not fix the destination at the beginning of the work. Let the work go, and then you can actually discover something new and so that the viewer. Okay. Can you see the next slide, and actually next to next? Yeah, this is done by a great artist, German Eva Hess. Is a feminist artist apparently, but she's amazing doing with the thread and the net and so many liquid version of things near vision in the gallery, and how it comes that it started weaving and then getting into the shape and then making it wider, and then you can see it's more organic. So as she explained her work, it's very organic, like your physical body when you are actually making things with the thread weaving out. Okay. I'll come to that point, Mr. Ravi. Yeah. So next slide, please. There's a little bit written about her process, that, and we call it sometimes process artist. Why? The process is the highlighting factor. That means destination. I think you can ask students that what you were thinking, you start from there, and then you can actually come to the journey. So you see, the she believed art should be about nature or the human body. One of the most famous names, okay, in this movement, and she developed this emotional struggle, which is related to the body, with an impressive immediacy. That impressive immediacy, the work, is very important. So when you show this kind of work, different kind of work, and these are the vocabularies, these are the key points which you have to address and you have to explain to the student, and student need to take it, serious. Can you go to the next slides, please? Yeah, the next one. So now I'm talking about that purposes of the art, the connection culturally, socially, politically. So when they choose their work for the comparative study, or they have something in the process portfolio, even in the process portfolio, they have to refer some artist work, right? So what are the connection? What are the specialty there? And what are the things they addressed? What are the missing? The Diego Rivera's work, 1932, the huge mammoth destroyed wall, what he made, and this is part of the one wall. So where actually you can see the workers. The first time, probably the workers and the machine and the factories, they can be part of, can be the part of the big aesthetic value and the work of art in practice. Probably Diego Rivera is the ideal example for this. And there you can actually talk about the 30s, late 20s, 30s, the World War and post-war, and the Marxist view, the communism, all this kind of, they're in the avant-garde, the sociological values and the philosophy, how is embedded in Diego Rivera's work and many other Latin American artists, Mexican artists as well. So these are the connection with the social, political views and the whole identity and ethos from the workers, who are the actual values of the society, who produce, who manufactured the whole thing, and the one part only consumed that. So these are the factor came, and he did that in America, in Detroit. So that was kind of a very courageous thing, because in the capitalist society, and it was kind of history and well known. Can you see the next slides, please? Now, this is a contemporary artist. He is, I think, 29 years old, and this artist is from Nigeria, and he's phenomenal in photography and video and filming. And see the series he made in a residency, which is called Water Project and Pour Me Water and Pure Water, and where you can actually talk about a lot of things in this photography, right? The boy, the young boys taking shower. So there are series of work where the soap water coming out on the black body, and so many things you can address, from the racial issues and the post-colonial thing and the anti-slavery and so many stuff there. Even in the postmodern context, you can actually discuss about this by only this photograph. So that's why I have chosen this work. So when you show some of the works like that, and you have to ask them and have a discussion, and then so that it will be enriching for them, and they can understand that how to evaluate works and connect work socially, community-wise, politically, culturally, and all that. Can you see the next slide, please? Yeah, the next one. Yeah, I'm sure you have seen this work, and it has got a mammoth series by Christian Boltanski, so recently passed away. And the French artist Boltanski, one of the major issue was the anti-Jew killing and the Holocaust, what happened in the World War. And so these are the photographs from Swiss families and who were victims of the war. And he put the bulb, such a way, so it's called memorial. And yeah, can I see the next slide, please? So it's a little bit right up there with 1990s installation, the Reserve of Dead Swiss. So, the how they gathers the ideas and the memories, and talking in terms of our present situation when we never experienced the Holocaust, we never experienced World War or this kind of thing. But when you see this in the gallery, definitely it touches you, it sensitizes you that what exactly the horrible thing happened, and you think about this, so that addressing this generation is, I think it's an ideal example that you can show. And you can talk about the medium also separately, the glowing light bulb, which is dimmer, and how in front is coming on the photographs, and as if the photographs are ghostly visible and showing their communication, invisible communication with you, is very interestingly done, and which is very, very thought-provoking, of course. How about the next one? Next slide. Okay, there's sorry. Next slide is actually in my desktop, but anyway. So we can talk about anything you wish to. Sorry that we lost some time in the beginning, so that we can actually have how much time we can afford, Ms. Banka.
If you have any questions from the audience, we can address them now. Maybe.
Yeah.
Another few minutes. Keeping in mind everybody's time, we're already 10 minutes ahead.
Yeah. Someone already asked how do students select the appropriate theme. Now, what do you mean by appropriate theme? That's important, because from very beginning you cannot say appropriate or not appropriate. That's why we have to let them collect the investigation, the documentation, the observational study. From there, gradually you have to weave it and see their interest, highlighting there, and gradually we'll decide that which kind of work they can do, and then gradually what they will do. So that's why I have made that, every 3 months, every quarters, the planning. So first 3 months will go by that. Even you can take it more than 3 months for that. So sticking to one item or the subject very beginning, I don't agree with that, because sometimes they don't know, they feel it's compulsion, and then the originality loses there. So we have to actually nurture them in order to develop their originality and expose that. So I think this is the way. Go for a very simplified version, just still life, just observation, just some memories, just from the newspaper photo clippings from there, like that, or a movie they have watched from there, something that way you grow. Maybe multiple operational thing you can start with that, and then pick up, then do mind mapping, and then gradually do that. Sometimes it happens, we let them decide that, but let them decide more than one option, because invariably they choose wrong option because they go by their own fancy. So the 2-3 options from there you discuss and select it. Another thing also you can do, make a broad choice. Like for instance, you make the choice, for instance, cityscape. Now the cityscape, you can do so many things. So you make a choice of 10 different topics. Make mixture of cognitive, one-point fixture, or open-ended. What is open-ended? Like reflection, speed, obituary. These are the open-ended. So there is no exact thing. What is the one-ended and the the next ended open, not both the ended open, that is city state. So city is there fixed. From there, they will open up to medicine. And if you fix exactly like, okay, you draw a fruit, flower, and bus, that is both the ended fixed. So you can choose, you can make a kind of different variation of 10, 12 theme like that and ask them to select 2. Okay. From there, you can actually develop. This is actually is a good thing. I mean, initially you can do that. And so that you can actually explicitly also teach them some skills and other things, and further what they can do that if they are very comfortable, so they can actually continue. If they are not comfortable end of this term, I mean work, then you can ask them to choose other things. So make some broad based theme. From there they can choose. This is one, the safe side. And other thing is gradually from your classwork you develop kind of items of that.
Okay. One more question, sir.
Yes.
The students, one of the students is very much confused. He is interested in multiple themes, so he is not able to decide which one he has to go with. Means narrowing the theme. So can you explain, sir, how to narrow?
He's in which level now? In first
Now,
year?
First year, sir. First year.
First year. And what do you mean by multiple things, like as a media or as a content theme?
As a theme, sir. As a theme, he want
As
to
a
take
theme.
the transportation, he want to take the kitchen utilities, and he is good in sketching from the childhood. So that made him confused which way I should go, sir. I want to go this way, I want to go that way, but I'm not able to decide. As a teacher, I'm just paused him and I told I'll come back to you very soon. How to go with your topic or the content.
Yeah, in that case, maybe the 3 major topics, you asked him to make 3 different mind mapping.
Okay.
From 3 mind mapping, you will see one will be stronger. So you actually go the strongest part and you convince him that you start with that, you finish it, after that you go to this next one. Because this is stronger, you are much more, able to do that. So do that one first. Do this way. I know that children, they have their own ideas and the fancy and something like that. But I think this is the way to ask for the mind mapping. And from there, you can see which is the stronger part. You go by that.
Sir,
Or sometime you can pull it also.
Okay,
Like
that's good.
urban life, kitchen. Call it this.
Sure. That is a good idea.
Yeah.
And one more question. Can we see some mind maps, sir? How the child can do the mind map?
Yes,
But just examples.
Yeah, right now I don't. I mean, it needs a bigger discussion, honestly speaking.
Yeah.
But I gave you the idea of the left and right side, which is a very easy solution. And I had a session, from different part that only with the mind mapping, and that was for the Cambridge though, but it's actually applicable for any art practice. It needs it's elaborate thing for how to make the mind mapping and how to planning the things, because as I said, no institution say that multiple mind mapping, but I only say that first, second, third at least. Because first mind mapping you do with after observational study, it doesn't make sense for the further quality. What exactly you are making for ongoing thing, that time to time you have to do that and document in the VHF. It's important there. And as I promised to you, and just wanted to share this work of as I talk about this. Can you see the work of Rosenberg? Yeah, that was the upper part was there, and now you can see the below part is actually the eagle, actual eagle stuck there, the wings of eagle, and hanging the stone and pillow.
This was the part of exhibition, sir.
It's Rosenberg's actual work. So what I'm saying, you can actually trace it, how it started, that mark on top, and then layering with the cloth and the metal, and after that gradually You can see the wings stuck there. So that what happened, it is very exciting to see that roughage of this process, the layering and everything, where actually the visitor can place themselves. So what I'm saying, this is an example for media exploration, and how students should think about the fourth part of objective, as I discussed, that how to present through the cohesiveness and with the intention. So how the new knowledge can bring, this is an ideal example. I'm not saying that everybody's art has to be like that, but this is as a great master work, so that it's very vibrant and the huge mammoth work, and one can see that artwork can reach which level. So that's the share.
One more small question, sir. When the student is, excuse,
Sir, I have.
one second, I complete. Thank you, sorry, sir.
Yes, sir.
Actually, when the student has done a mind map,
Yes.
when he's developing and refining, when he's doing the refinement and developing the work, can he keep adding this to the mind map, or is it just they go on with the work and show the evidences?
You mean to say the mind mapping? I mean, adding the
Development,
in the mind map. You're saying?
refinement, how they are doing,
Yes. If you see, if you achieve something after first part, so that can be documented there. So you can write there. Maybe, for instance, you are using something 2D to 3D form. So you made a prototype. So in the mind map, you write there that you have in your hand what is there, a kind of 3D form, and from there, what is the way forward?
Oh.
That is fine. Then way forward has to have a justification what exactly you're looking for. Now, what happened the mind map? Don't forget that it reads your mind. That means what is in your mind we're reading. So what exactly you are achieving, are you following that way? And according to that, you are actually achieving or failing.
Dr. Dakre, you had something to say?
Yeah.
I have one important question about how to create exact unit plan and lesson plan. Even last year I asked you, Subroto sir. So any possibility that you can forward one sample?
So
Okay.
maybe I'll take the privilege to answer that. If there is any sort of particular requirement that you have, we can also arrange for one-on-one mentorship sessions with Mr. Subrata. And also, we are planning to do one workshop in which we are looking at detailed planning for the IBDP Visual Arts. I'm sure that should serve useful. Subrata sir, if you have any brief to share with Dr. Dakre, maybe you can do that.
You see, yeah, thank you, ma'am. You see that the objective and other things detail I shared today.
Yeah.
Those are the factor actually you incorporate in your planning. Now, unit plan basically is a unit wise where 3 units you can take for IB. One is art making, one is in communication, and one is in theoretical practice. Now, your lesson plan come in a sub unit. The lesson plan comes sub-unit like that. If you have taken that your printmaking session and printmaking derived from your 2D practice and art making practice, and after anything sort of art visit or anything, so that comes under that. So what you can write that unit plan is this, and this is the expected outcome from unit, and so that this is the art practice. And there you make this, and then maybe number 1 session, 2nd session, 3rd session, like that.
Got it.
But
Yeah, for this is all theory you're giving me. I need one sample of the best sample of unit and lesson, if possible.
Acha.
Yeah.
So Subrata sir, I had a query.
Yeah.
So very often, we get confused with what is digital manipulation. So is it like the work like you shared, Robert Rauschenberg, that kind of, collage making kind of digital work? So what's the level of complexity that is required, from a student when they say digital manipulation or performance art?
See, when Rosenberg did that work, there's not that much digital exploration. Now, what happened now in digitally, we have a lot of softwares, and then if students are equipped, if you teach them, they are taught by that, they can do some exploration in the, even this, for instance, Photoshop or Procreator. They can do some images, and there they have to justify why are they doing this platform, why are they doing this media, what is the benefit, what is the expected outcome from there. Now, as I said, that you have to ask your source, you have to ask the question. So if I am doing a drawing, if I am doing a 3D model, or if I'm doing a digital work, every time you have to ask yourself that, is this the appropriate media? What exactly keeping there? So that you have to ask and you have to talk about it. Everything will be very transparent. Now, as the sake of exploring a media, some students exploring digital media, no problem with that, but they have to write that. And there, if they found that outcome is very nice and exactly this is something served his purpose or her purpose, so it's perfectly all right. Now, in the digital platform, what happened, the operational part, that skill is different than the our formal qualities of our traditional art practice. So those two practices should be measured in different separately according to that, so that once they make this thing, some screenshot should be presented to you, and so that they can justify that which layer after what, how they have changed and altered. So they're reasoning little bit, if they write, that would be nice. Now, Rosenberg was why I showed you that, because it's bigger than life. One artist can actually go beyond imagination, and how huge, keep on doing that collage, assemblage, and then the sculpture. That's important to know that you have no barrier to see that. So that can give them an exposure. Not necessarily they have to do that. And also, what is that question comes as an whether sculpture or is a 2D work, because the suspended thing finally and the eagle's wings, they are 3D and they're hanging, so that they are actually referring more than 4th dimension. Now, the 4th dimension in art is different than the science. In science, the 4th dimension is time. But in art, we can learn from Picasso and the Cubists that how one more and more dimension they worked on. Now, what happened is the 5th dimension created as the things are suspended, like a pendulum or like a hanging thing. So it goes, it actually swings, and it covers a time period in certain distance. So that is not the same dimension with the 2D work or any other thing we stuck there. So that's the way we add more and more dimension into that. Now, if sound is added, there's another dimension. So in the digital platform, we have 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th dimension. Things are popping up, things are coming in the virtual reality, augmented reality. So we have more than more dimension already here. So that is one factor. If students are very, very interested in creating more and more dimension to know and getting into new knowledge factor, then they can address it to that. So this is the way I started, or he started. And then gradually, I mean, they need to explore more and more digital exploration, so that Rosenberg works can be one inspirational source for that. So he or she is not exactly doing like that, but the factor of exploring media dimension, they can address to that.
Very interesting, sir. Thank you so much for it.
Thank you.
Okay, I think, sir, keeping in mind the time constraint, we'll end here. If at all anyone has any questions, or would want to reach out to us, please feel free. I've added the WhatsApp chat link on the chat box. Please feel free to join, and then we can address more and more questions. We can have more and more discussions as we go on. In the meanwhile, I would also request you to share your reviews about what do you think the kind of sessions that our Journal Foundation has been arranging have been useful to you, or how would you want us to improve? Meanwhile, talk about how today's session has been like. So all the recordings, the resources, the details would also be shared with you over an email. And we wish to be in touch and keep growing and keep learning together. Thank you so much, Brother Sir, for
Thank you so much.
deep,
Thank you.
insightful session today, because me not being an IBDP expert, I've also been able to learn through the planning part was something that was really superb.
Sorry
So
for the
I-
torture that you had to control the slides and everything.
No,
And-
not at all. Technology sometimes plays with us, so that's absolutely fine. And I'm really hoping that everybody benefited out of the session. Anything that we wish to talk about, we are all in touch. We are a group here, a family here. We'll keep in touch. Thank you so much, and
Thank
have
you.
a great day.
I have a
Great
request, ma'am. This
Thank
is
you,
Ravikant.
Subrata. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Niloufar.
Sushila. Yeah,
This is Ravikant, ma'am.
Thank you,
Uh,
sir. Thank you, Subrata.
thank
sir.
you. Bye.
very
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you.
Can we get a copy of this video, ma'am?
Yes, the video will be shared with everybody. The
Thank you.
recordings.
Yeah, thank you very
Yeah.
much. and
Thank you.
have a good day.
Thank you, Subrata sir.
Thank you all. Thank you.
I'm
Thank
from
you very much.
MSCG Baroda. I meet you.
Who is there?
Nalin. Nalin.
Nalin. Okay.
Nalin.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was there. Yeah, I was there with you.
Yeah, Nalin, I know. Yeah. How are you? Doing
Fine,
good?
fine, sir.
Good, good. Thank you for coming.
Group
Yeah.
sent
Because of
some-
my class is going on, so
Okay.
I was not able to switch on the.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'll mail on this same mail.
हाँ, mail करो.
Yeah. Okay. I want this. Yeah. Thank you.